Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Sneople at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. From the kids who are from another world, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Ezra.
I'm Maddie.
And I'm Helena. Hello.
Yeah, sorry for missing a week. It'd be like that sometimes. Let's move on.
So true.
Yeah, all of us have to work for a living, which is bullshit.
Yeah, yawn.
What? Gosh.
I am very excited for this episode, though. We've talked about it more than once. I did leak the fucking info on Chaos and Stereo this week, so some people know.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a remake rumble of all of the things. So
right.
51, 82, 2011.
In the first corner, yeah. This ring has. I mean, I guess they're usually
this
squares,
corner,
and they have four corners, but usually you only use
and
two
the
of them.
fourth corner is me getting my ass beat by the thing.
You just have to kite them into all attacking each other and then run.
In the first corner is Howard Hawks secretly directing the original The Thing, even though he's not credited with directing it, and being like, no, do this, or however the hell he was working on it. There's all this stuff where he's like, I'm the producer, but then it's like, yeah, I did a little bit of screen work, yeah, I did a little bit of directing, yeah, I did a little bit of this.
You know.
You bastard.
Sam, welcome to Remake Rumble, featuring The Thing from Another World, 1951, John Carpenter's The Thing, 1982, and The Thing, not John Carpenter's The Thing, from 2011.
A cursed year, I'm discovering.
2011,
2012.
The more we learn about that movie, the more I just feel bad.
I'm
not mad at the movie.
30%
of
my snark my original snark level. I'm dialing that back by a full 30%. But we'll get there.
We'll get there when we get there. Before we get there, we should move fast. A thing that we never do.
Sneep
and
quickly.
Always say quickly. And never do, because we got 3 movies to get.
Mine is really short. Because I don't know what I was doing for the last 4 weeks, but apparently it wasn't watching movies.
Half of it was Sneople homework. Well, you also watched multiple TV shows.
I did watch multiple
animes.
I watched a lot of anime.
So I watched season 1 of half and season 2 of Letterkenny. Forgot how good that show is.
Hell yeah.
I'm rewatching Detective Conan, one of my favorite animes. Been playing a lot of Pokemon, I won't lie. I got to see Dawn of the Dead in the theater, which fucked. I watched The Last Samurai. I watched The Edge of Tomorrow. I finally watched RRR, another movie that absolutely fucked.
I'm so jealous.
It was so good, guys. I watched Reanimator in the theater, which also fucked.
Also gay as fuck.
Yeah, also gay as fuck. Yes, Daddy will see we're serious. So sad that got cut out of the movie. And then I watched, for Sneople homework, Thing from Another World, The Thing. So, done.
Awesome. Should I go through this really quickly as I can?
Yeah,
go for it.
Talk fast.
Go. I saw Gun Crazy. I saw Collateral. I think the hair looks good. Sorry. I saw The People's Joker at IFC. It was amazing. What an incredible crowd. Love that movie so much. So happy for her. Also because I saw that movie, I immediately went home the next 2 days and watched Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. What an experience. Gayest Jim Carrey performance I've ever seen. Val Kilmer is a good Batman. George Clooney is a bad one. I saw Abigail in theaters with some friends, which was pretty fun. I saw Birth, which was fucking crazy. I saw The Ghost of Mrs. Muir, which was romantic. I saw Child's Play. Rock on, Little Man. Been avoiding that movie for a very long time. I watched The Thing from Another World. I saw The Thing 2011. And I saw just the other night Notorious with Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman, and Claude Rains. It's amazing. I felt every emotion. I also rewatched the original Tim Burton's Batman movie. I rewatched The Night of the Hunter. I rewatched All That Jazz one time on my DVD. I rewatched The Neverending Story. I rewatched Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 because everybody was talking about it, and it was playing in the theaters, and I felt left out, but I couldn't afford to go see it in the theaters, so I watched it
The
at home.
Raimi Spider-Mans, yeah?
The Raimi Spider-Mans, yeah.
Yeah.
Love them. I watched John Carpenter's The Thing. I rewatched Eyes Without a Face, and then I rewatched All That Jazz again because the second that I finished it when I was watching it on my laptop was like, I had a really great experience just now, but I would absolutely kill to watch this on a big screen sometime. And then like the next day, I was like looking at all of the movies that are playing the coming week at all my favorite theaters and trying to decide what I wanted to go and see because there are some new movies that I actually want to see right now. And IFC happened to be doing, and is still doing, I think, this weekend, a Bob Fosse retrospective, and they're showing all of his movies that he directed, as well as some of the ones where he was an actor in, like Kiss Me Kate and Damn Yankees, My Sister Eileen, and All That Jazz was playing at 9:05 p.m. was the one showing I could make that on like the next Saturday. So I was like, "Fuck it!" and I bought my tickets and I went to go see it. It was incredible. And as I was watching it, I was like, "Is this my favorite movie?" I think this is probably my
I'm
favorite
so
movie.
fucking jealous.
I'm
It
unspeakably
was
jealous.
so great.
You
Highly
and
recommend.
one of my favorite podcasters, Matty Lubchansky, was all like, I think, I don't know if you were at the same
They were
showing,
probably
but like,
they were. I saw their review of it because I also follow them.
I was like scrolling on Letterboxd and I was like,
So this is my favorite thing to do whenever I go see a rep screening in New York is to immediately go onto Letterboxd and look at the recent reviews and be like, who
Be
was
like,
at
all
the
right.
same theater as me? There was specifically a guy and Maddie was, I think, definitely at that screening. It's possible also that Maddie was sitting behind me and to the right. I thought I recognized this person's voice.
How many rows from stardom?
So, hi, Maddie. It was great to have you there. There was also another guy though on Letterboxd who was like, talking about it on Twitter because there's a conversation about like people taking photos of the screen during showings of Challengers and being annoying. And somebody on Twitter was like, "Yeah, I went to see All That Jazz, and there was a guy who took his phone out during the title card." Just to take a picture of the title card, and I was about to throw down. And I was like, I was at that screening because I saw that guy do it, and I was like, am I gonna have to beat up somebody?
You're like, are we gonna have to become a mob?
This movie has just fucking started. We're 0.5 seconds in. Anyway, favorite experience. But that's me. That's all I've watched. I've watched Star Trek too, obviously, but like, who hasn't? Yeah.
Helena, if you ever get onto one of these calls and you're like, I didn't watch any Star Trek, I'm just gonna assume that you've been Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
You've been the Thinged.
Yeah, that's gonna be the point at which theory. I'm gonna be like, and Helena is now the Thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Hey, do we know if they did a commentary for Prince of Darkness? Probably not, but I wish.
I can ask Google
I don't
real
know
quick.
if it's on my DVD. I can see if the Vinegar Syndrome edition of the movie has it on their special features. Hang on, I'll look it up while you talk.
I love both of you so much. I watched a bunch of Dungeon Meshi. I started watching the Apothecary Diaries, which is very cute, and I like it a lot. Also, shout out to Crunchyroll for having subtitles that are big enough that I can watch it without my glasses. Because sometimes you get home from work and you're like, I'm done looking at things, but you still want to watch the subtitled version of things. I also watched The Last Samurai, which I was definitely extremely normal about. And then I watched The Things, and I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I didn't put it on Letterboxd, which means it's not real.
That's very true.
That's it. That's
so. Answer.
I'm reading this link that Maddie just posted. Sorry,
yeah. This commentary for Prince of Darkness is only available on the Region 2 and Region 4 releases, and I believe that we are Region 1.
Yeah. Region 2 is Europe, and Region 4 is I don't remember where, but like I spent a lot of time.
I can
trying
make
to figure
things happen.
out. I was gonna say I feel like this is achievable because like. I spent a lot of time on the internet in, like, the late 2000s and early 2010s with people, like, buying and trying to jailbreak Region 2 DVDs of, like, niche shit from the UK because we all know that's the kind of adolescence I had.
Here's...
parenting myself. It's fine.
Is this, I want to be clear, is this a particular, so I was wrong, it's not Vinegar Syndrome edition, it's Shout Factory that has a nice collector's edition Blu-ray. That is Region A, that Blu-ray. Do we know if that,
Let me check. I'm not sure.
I'm about to find out.
Okay, the Shout Factory Region A Blu-ray has audio commentary with John Carpenter.
Oh, Region A is North America.
Fantastic.
For Blu-rays.
Okay.
It's different for
Blu-rays.
DVDs. But if we were able to get that Blu-ray, then we would be able to get the Prince of Darkness commentary. I don't like Blu-rays, but I will make an exception. I don't know why. I just think they're stupid for some reason. I own 2
People
Blu-rays.
also ask, what does the ending of Prince of Darkness mean?
Great point, Queen.
My brother in reading comprehension watched the movie.
How dare you say we piss on the poor?
I do have to say, I understand, I have a lot of Blu-rays myself. I do understand the hatred for, there's just something about a particular era of Universal Blu-rays.
You know
which
what my beef
is...
with them is? Sorry, keep talking.
Oh, what? No, please.
The cases are a different size.
It's so annoying.
My whole, I'm not even kidding, 90% of my beef with Blu-rays is that I can't, I've tried, I cannot put them on the shelf of I have a giant DVD shelf because I am out of control. I bought 3 DVDs the last time I went to Value Village, and that was after I put Chocolat back on the shelf because I was like, I don't actually need to own that movie no matter how horny I am for Alfred Molina.
I was just about to say...
It looks wrong, and it's infuriating, Maddie.
I just found this Reddit post that's like, what do you guys think of Prince of Darkness on r/horror? This post, it's one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. I'm really truly questioning myself on whether or not I'm actually watching the same movie as you guys whenever someone praises this movie. I recently finished watching the Apocalypse trilogy, so this is the lowest recommendation on this list. This film was very slow-paced, stilted dialogue with science and spirituality mumbo-jumbo that tries too hard to make sense. This is one of those films that actually made me laugh in certain moments, essentially when Walter starts panicking in the closet when the devil finally took over.
Yeah, that's a skill issue.
I am killing this person with my brain.
I can't believe that this person wakes up every day and immediately starts pissing on the poor.
Yeah. Something about what I was going to say before we get into it is that there's something about, I don't know if it's like a particular kind of monster movie, but I have Jaws. I have Jaws on Blu-ray and The Thing on Blu-ray, and they're both Universal. And they're both from a particular time period where they have a really annoying menu screen that's like, it's like you're hacking into a computer, so it's like,
what was up with those?
Why? I don't, like, every time I'm
going down the menu, the era of cyber,
the subtitles on, I don't want to feel like I'm opening the doors to my spaceship. Like, it's fine. I just want to scroll down the menu, dog.
I know. I'm not trying to do Event Horizon out here. I just want to turn the fucking subtitles on.
Anyway, it was very silly.
I almost accidentally bought a second DVD of Event Horizon. God,
there is a used DVD record store just across the street from where I work, and I went in there the other day. I popped my head in. I was this close to buying a DVD of Sense and Sensibility for $3. I was so close. You stick Hugh Grant's face on the DVD cover, I'll be like,
this is difficult to argue with.
I had the thing is, I didn't bring my wallet with me. I had exactly enough cash in my pocket to get myself a coffee, and I was like, do I skip the coffee? Sense and Sensibility? But I was like, no, Helena, you are running out of space as it is. You need to get a fucking bookcase of DVDs before you do anything else.
I let this beautiful face energize me instead of the coffee.
He's always energizing my dreams. I can imagine his face if I want to think about it. You making a face of
I don't know about that sort of phrase.
But it's true. It's how I feel about him. Not him as the Oompa Loompa, though. That shit's whack.
No.
I'm thinking not that.
Yeah.
I
did very much love our mutual friend of the show, Leia, who was like, I got wogged, ask me anything.
That
Took
was
a bullet,
extremely good, and then I was just like, how bad is it?
And the answer was yes.
Yeah, the answer was yeah. You know what? I don't need to get up on my I hate Timothy Chalamet soapbox. You're all familiar with this soapbox.
Funny
Dead
side
inside.
note.
Dead inside.
I'm not going to use any names here,
Him,
but
not
Timothy
me.
Chalamet went to NYU, and I had an acting teacher last year. I had an acting teacher last year who happens to teach at NYU, and he doesn't like Timothy Chalamet as an actor. And
Cool.
but part of
I'm
me is
shaking hands
like
with this guy.
wondering to myself, did you have Timothy Chalamet as a student? It can't have been. It can't have happened. But
Could
I'm
have.
just, yeah, it's something I have to buy him a coffee and ask him these
Yeah,
very
just be
important
like,
questions.
okay, level with me. Was he in your class and was he a little shit?
Yeah. Why am I a better actor than Timothy Chalamet? Go. 10 reasons.
It's time. It's time for the thing from another world.
Yeah, let's
AKA,
Yeah. Which, yeah, I don't know about you guys.
That's not bisexual lighting, girl. You're being pursued by the thing.
I watched these in chronological order when I
Ooh, fun.
watched all of these. So I watched this one first, like about a week ago, just to get
As did
my
I.
just to get my feeling of the time period and how things shifted and changed and everything. What do you guys think? I had a good time.
Yeah, I liked it.
I enjoyed it.
I don't think it was like blow your face off levels of good, but I thought it was like a fun movie. I thought it was pretty well made. I thought it was like an interesting sci-fi movie. It wasn't scary.
Yeah. No.
But that's okay.
I can see how it would have had a strong impact on somebody if they saw it when they were like, 8.
Yes.
Or I could see like even of the era, right?
Yeah, that too.
Sure.
You know, if I had seen this first, I think it would also be different. But I saw The Thing, 1982, several years ago.
Yeah.
So that just like adjusts my expectation, right?
Yeah. And the tone
but I didn't.
The tone is very different too. It's in a way it's much more optimistic about the space and the possibility of life on other planets. I thought it was going to be, so the interesting thing when we talked about, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast or if we talked about this off air when we were discussing Remake Rumble episodes and how we were talking about the first two Thing movies and how like, oh, it's interesting because like one of them was made during the Cold War, and I was like, well, I was thinking to myself like both of them were made during the Cold War technically. It was just one was kind of towards the beginning of it and one was towards the end. But because they were both made during the Cold War, and certainly there were comments and jokes about, the Russians and the Chinese in the 51 version. Right. I was like, okay. I was thinking it would be a lot more paranoid in the way that the 82 version is. It was more just like, I was like, oh, they're really accepting of this idea that there can be life on other planets and that thing in the ice block is a Martian. I think it was just kind of the way that the script was written. It was very propulsive and very moving it along to the next thing that made these guys kind of be able to like handle this revelation.
It's notably
so
at least like half an hour shorter than the other ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
This thing fucking motors. Everybody talks really fast, which I feel like
it's a very 50s kind of, it's a patter.
I feel like we've gone from the patter and static camera to everybody talks really slow or doesn't talk very much and the camera cuts every 4 times a second, and I'm like, put them back.
We need to find a middle ground here.
We need to find a middle ground here. But it's like, that's, I feel like I don't watch a ton of movies from I don't spend a lot of time watching movies from the 50s, so I forget sometimes that quite a few of them have that very people move fast, camera moves slow vibe, and how much I enjoy it.
They got to that scene and then when they're all meeting each other at the station, I was like, God, this is so. And I had to look it up because I knew that Howard Hawks had a producing credit on it. I was saying before we recorded, I immediately looked up and I was like, who wrote this? And the screenwriter for this movie was Howard Hawks' screenwriter on His Girl Friday, and I was like, okay, because if you
There
watch
we
His
go.
Girl Friday, that's like however fast people are talking in this movie is like you turn that dial up to 10 and it's like uh-huh. And this one also has the kind of strong like unflappable female character with a romantic interest in one of the leads that the I don't know if the original story has that. This one is notably like changes a lot from the original short story, I think. She was cool. There was a little bit more of
Yeah.
like a romantic comedy aspect to certain scenes.
Oh yeah. There was
They were having their whole own little thing going on there, which was very fun.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this movie was
Mm-hmm.
horny. But you said, Helena, that this was the same screener as His Girl Friday, and I was like, everything falls into place here. This absolutely makes sense. It's interesting because I think that like part of it is like this is the beginning of the phenomena of the unidentified flying object, right? As a
Space
cultural
race.
concept. Space race, we're getting into an era of like military technology where that is now starting to be there's a lot of rapport with the I'm forgetting a literal word here. The reporter, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I was trying to think like newsman, and I'm like, no,
I mean
dude.
that's a
I
word.
mean, he's a man for news, but like not quite. The interplay between the reporter trying to make a news story and the military shutting it down is we're very much entering like, you know, the atomic bomb has happened, for example. We're entering and being in an era of military technology is starting to get real big and starting to be very closed down. So it doesn't surprise me that, like, especially because all of these guys are military, not all of them, a lot of them are military dudes, specifically. In the other movies, they're less that and more like, it has more of an independent scientist feel, especially in 2011, where they're like, I think there's no mention of who they're supported by at all.
There's like a few of them are like more blue
one of them is
collar
from
workers.
Yeah.
And then there's like some scientists and
Yeah.
I think they're mostly scientists.
They're mostly scientists. There's not really, you know, and then 82, there's kind of like a mix. They do have like some military folk. There's, you know, mostly doctors, actually. I wouldn't say any of them are really like scientists. There's like a couple of them maybe that fit that bill, but that's not super the focus there, which is interesting because then you have that rapport of none of them have any experience with what's going on except for like two of them. There's two people, one of whom gets the thinged and one of whom fucking gets his arms ripped off. And then in the first one you have the interplay between science and the military, which like is apropos for the era, I think, very much. And on the top quarter, information. And it's interesting to see that interplay of that's more the focus than we don't have time to worry about we found an alien. Yeah, sure, we're in an era where like we've made the atomic bomb. We figured out how to split literal atoms. Anything is possible.
But there's also the threat of danger too from the scientists' characters as well because of that.
Yes.
I feel like too. Yeah.
And that movie also has the idea of there's the external intruder who is so different from us, which, as you said, this is Cold War, this is post-World War II. Yeah, that's very relevant, isn't it? Someone who is so very much like us and yet so very much isn't. Also, as someone who is like a biology nerd, the idea of like, who's to say that intelligent life couldn't evolve from plants? There are plants who like communicate, and I'm saying there are plants who have feelings as far as we're aware. So that was very cool. It is very different from the summation. It's very different from the other two, but in a way that I really liked.
I did watch that while I was watching that. I did remember that Tumblr post that's something about like it got condensed down to we taught spinach to send emails. Um,
Oh, fuck, for real?
and then it's I don't know where I would have to try to find it, but then as part of which involves being like people imagining what the spinach sending the emails would be like, and it's like sending it to the farmer like we need water or whatever, and then it's like no, it has to do with like trying to make it so you can have plants that will detect like landmines, and then so it's like instead it's like, you know, from spinach, subject matter bomb. Anyway.
Ezra, I just want to note the screen cap that you've just posted in the
yes,
chat here.
I thought this was important. I went and looked up the original novella that the film is based on, which is called Who Goes There, by
which now I very much want to read.
John W. Campbell, writing under a pen name. I know. I'm like where I gotta go find this shit. Published in 1938, which is kind of wild to me. And yeah, so in the adaptations and spin-off section, we have the thing from Another World, you know, John Carpenter.
Oh fuck, we watched this.
And then Jump Scare Horror Express 1972.
Deep cut Sneople listeners may know and recognize.
Deep cut Sneople. Some of you may remember we streamed this motherfucker because it's available for free.
Pre-COVID.
The second, like, 24-hour stream, or, like, second or third, it was the second one I was on, because I did the first one, and it was, like, House on Haunted Hill or whatever, and I did that with some, like, random person who's not even part of IDB anymore, I think. And then the second one was we did Horror Express, and that was that all of us?
That was all of us.
Yeah.
I think Ezra was remote.
I believe so.
Yeah, we were the two.
Oh,
of us
yes.
there.
Yeah, because my stream was, like, slightly off.
Yeah. That was years
what
ago.
A film.
It was a long fucking time ago.
That feels like 10 years ago. It was like half that.
Shout out to a real one, patron saint of the Sneople podcast, Horror Express.
Horror Express.
Oh, good
Christopher
stuff.
Lee and Peter Cushing. Yeah.
Which is yeah, no, that's I think it has an interesting thing with like the short story, it's telepathic. Like, part of the horror is that this thing, like, it can know you so well that it can perfectly imitate you, which is something that doesn't really get explicitly pulled forward into any of the film adaptations we're talking about.
No. I mean, there's a lot of stuff it should be noted that in the original The Thing from Another World, they nix the whole, like, shape-shifting thing, and it's just, a Martian.
It's an entirely different kind of
Martian.
alien.
Yeah, but it does, like, eat, like, drink people's blood, I guess, is the thing. And there's, like, watching, Carpenter's The Thing, that goes back to the roots and is probably the most faithful of the adaptations up to that point, and does the shape-shifting thing. There's the question of, I think it's Childs who asks when they're all standing outside at one point, it's like, if I was an imitation of myself, I mean a perfect imitation, how would you be able to know? And that's the thing, that is never, there's a lot of stuff about how it operates that's never fully explained in Carpenter's version, that's just kind of left to our imagination, which I kind of love, because you never know at any point when someone gets turned. You never know who's who. You even are in doubt at many points whether or not McCready is the thing too, Kurt Russell's character,
right,
who is our protagonist up to that point, and you're like, oh shit. And John Carpenter has insisted that, like, it's ambiguous. All of the stuff that you are like,
he doesn't know.
But he's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's all of this stuff that's unexplained. He's like, I want that to be left deliberately ambiguous, and I think that's really, I like that, because it adds a level of mystery and unease and suspense and dread to the film, where you're just like, I don't know what's happening.
I feel like that's sort of one of John Carpenter's real, like, strengths as a storyteller to me, is that part of, he's so economical about, no wasted time, no wasted space, no wasted shots, and for his, like, horror stuff, that really translates to knowing, like, explaining just enough to keep you engaged, but knowing when denying you an understanding of how something works makes it scarier. Because if you can explain something, it is like, often it is automatically less scary because you can understand it. It can be a different kind of horror, or it becomes a different kind of horror. Like, there's a reason that The Thing is part of the, like, cosmic horror trilogy, and it's because it's all these things that are, like, that are fundamentally incompatible. It's not even just that they're incomprehensible, it's like they are like incompatible with the way that humans understand things. And that is terrifying.
Yeah.
And I feel like not to jump ahead too much, but I feel like the 2011 one is like like so far into the CinemaSins era that it's like, but we can't not explain things. Don't people want things explained to them? I'm like, no.
But
I don't think that it's freaky because I don't understand what fucking works. Which means that which means that it gives you the freedom to be like, you never have to worry about like an internal continuity thing, because it's like, oh, all of a sudden the monster does something new. You don't know if it could do that the whole time or not. You don't fucking know. Anything could happen. It has that sense of like that sense of danger. I think is something that's like particularly one of the big things that I like about the 1982 movie.
Yeah, I have a thought on that, but I want Maddie to go ahead if you wanted to say something.
I lost track of what I was about. Oh, I was going to talk about the ending of the 1982 movie, and I think touch a little bit of what you were saying on the 2011 is the first time I watched the 1982 movie. I watched it with a dear friend of mine who was like, you've never seen, who also showed me The Fly.
Love that.
This is Sigio.
Hell yeah. Shout
out. And we get to the end, we get to that very ambiguous ending where you just pull back and everything's on fire, and like, are both of them the Thing? Are neither of them the Thing? Is one of them? Are they gonna kill each other? Does the Thing survive? You don't know. And I remember like movie ends, credits roll, and I was like, that was incredible. That ending was incredible. And my friend was like, yeah, right? And I'm like, yeah, the fact that you don't know, perfect. And in the commentary, John's like, yeah, they wanted me kind of to end on we were thinking about ending just on kind of that shot of Kurt Russell, like, getting out there and he's just kind of alone in the snow. And then you, talking to Kurt Russell, he's like, you had that idea of instead, no, let's bring Keith David back. And let's have it end on the two of them. Which, genius move. Well done, sir.
Just so good.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of they talk about in the commentary, and as we know, just through like time and history or whatever, a lot of people did not like this movie when it came out, the 1982 film. People hated it. Test audiences didn't like it. When it came out, people didn't like it. It was not a hit. It was super gory. People considered it super gory, super graphic. Everybody fucking dies. It's miserable. It's very serious. People hated it. And that's what I love, is it takes itself very seriously despite kind of an absurd idea. And it's very ambiguous in like, there's no happy ending. Of course there isn't. My God, how do you get out? How do you survive something like this? You don't. And that to me is what makes it so good. And then I think with the 2011 one, it spends so much time explaining stuff, I think partially because it's a prequel, right? So they felt like they kind of had to, you know? I think you mentioned it, Helena, in our Google Doc you wrote that they felt like they had to go back and do an autopsy of like, well, how did they, you know, when they go to the Norwegian base, you have to kind of explain.
Oh, that's such a good word.
They found the dude.
That's what the word writer used, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Really? Okay.
Yes. Which is cool. And like a very interesting concept, I think, is kind of a cool concept for a movie, right? That you have to go back and fill in the spots, but also means that you get into the trouble of, well, now you have to explain everything they saw, which in the original movie is scary because you don't know what happened to these people. And now you kind of have to. And that you have to see how the two-headed being came to be. You have to see how that guy died. You have to see why there's a fire axe in the door, you know? And it's kind of a bummer.
It's
Um,
more of an interesting thought experiment than an interesting
yeah.
movie.
I think
Um,
could be done in a if you were doing that to a movie that maybe had less of those minute details to create horror in the original movie, because it has all those little things that you look around, you're like, oh my god, look at all this stuff I don't understand, and now you're like, well, now I have to explain all these things you don't understand. They could have maybe found a way to just kind of gloss over them, but I think that would have been a lot harder. I think a
mm,
cool thought experiment and easier to do with a movie that just had less of that, and let's be honest, maybe not a horror movie.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like you pretty much hit the nail on the head with my main issue with the 2011 one is like this is all very fun and like fun to know about this and you know again a nice thought experiment but as you said like the reason why the two-headed burnt corpse that they find in the 82 version is so frightening is because they don't understand it. They don't understand how this could possibly be a thing, or how this could like why this is like that. And I think that that was probably it seems to me at least like that was probably the effect that they had the most fun doing. It felt that one felt the most original in terms of
Yeah,
spirit and style to the practical effects of the original. That effect right there, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought that that's what was happening in that moment, but I guess you're right. That's what it was doing at that time. And so, you
yeah,
know, I'm like, that's fun. I mean, let's get into it a little bit, well, and we can jump back around to the 82 version because
yeah.
of
Let's just
course,
go.
but I want to talk about the 2011 version because I think it's really, really sad about it.
Yeah.
Because the people who made this movie, the filmmakers, were really excited about making it, and they were very adamant when they were going through scripts at Universal about what to remake because they had just come off with the Dawn of the Dead remake, and they were looking for more.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
with Zack Snyder, and they were looking for more scripts to have fun with, and they found it, and they were like, "Oh, the thing." And they were like, "This is great movie. It's a perfect movie." They say there's so many quotes that I'm trying not to quote their whole Wikipedia article here, but they said like remaking the thing, like actually doing a full on remake is to them it was like it'd be like remaking Jaws, it'd be like remaking The Exorcist. It's like painting a mustache on the Mona Lisa. We don't want to do that. We don't want to fuck with a perfect object like that. To us, that movie is perfect. So I think it's really interesting to try and see, okay, well, what happened at the Norwegian camp? Like that was their fun thing was like, what if we do this? And one of the filmmakers or the writers, I think the writer maybe was European, so he was kind of coming at it from that angle of like, what happened to the Norwegians? And they were very adamant that they wanted it to look like, in terms of the effects and the body horror aspect of it all. They wanted it to look like as close as to the original as they could in terms of the practical. So they had a team that made all the practical effects. They had a puppetry team, I presume, for the thing at the very end of the movie that they have on the spaceship. And like they had all of this and they showed it to they had a different ending as well, and they showed it to test audiences, and the studio got back to them and is like, you have to do reshoots. You have to reshoot for all of these things and shoot a different ending and cut off. It's too slow paced. It's too much of a slow boil. You need to cut off all of this, like these scenes that explain character arcs, and you need to retool these effects with digital effects. And it was a mistake. Um, they've talked publicly about that. The writer, especially, was like, it broke his heart that they did that. Um, Especially since it sounds like they basically because Maddie, you were talking in this document about how these characters don't feel as distinct as the characters in the 82 version, and I think part of that is probably because this guy, I mean, I haven't seen his original script, but it sounds like a lot of the scenes that would have fleshed out these characters a little more were cut, because the movie was moving too slowly for test audiences and for the studio. And the retooling with the digital effects was so unfortunate because they were like, we had these, but we were at a very, he says specifically, and I'm paraphrasing a little, like, we were at a very unfortunate crosshairs in time because we were at a time when practicals were considered outdated. Also, the CGI that we had available was not very good. And I think it's very interesting, since we covered this in a previous Remake Rumble, that another movie that came out during this year was The Fright Night 2011. And just looking at some other movies that came out during that year, I'm like, yeah, we were
Yeah,
kind of an awkward
It was a rough
stage
one.
with this.
period.
And my stream was buffering a lot and pausing during the helicopter scene in the Thing 2011, where they try and take somebody off and then somebody changes on to
Yeah.
the helicopter. So I was really trying. I was like switching servers around, and I was like, "Fucking come on!" And it kept pausing and like stopping and loading on the exact moment in this movie where one of these characters' heads, like, sorry, listeners, like splits
Splits.
open basically, and I could just see the CGI, and I was like, God, this is just doing it no favors.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. And I don't think it would have been like a masterpiece if they had been able to use their original intentions and their original vision for it. But I feel like it would have at least
It wouldn't have
looked
been so
a lot better.
miserable.
I would have
Yeah,
spent
it
a
wouldn't have
lot
felt like
less
a
of that movie
waste.
thinking, like, literally actively apologizing to my roommates who were watching it with me, who neither of whom have seen the 1982 version. And, like, there were probably, like, 6 or 7 times where
You
I
can
was
only
like,
go
okay,
up from here.
we have to watch the actual. I was like, I kept being like, we have to watch the real thing because all this is doing is reminding me of the movie that I could be watching instead.
Oh, literally.
Also,
Oh my
the
God.
comment that you made in the Google Doc about Resident Evil, I literally looked at one of my roommates and I was like, I want to watch a Resident Evil movie. And
The
Logan's like,
last
this
one
has big
in
Resident
the lab.
Evil happening.
Yeah, the last big one in the with the two heads where it like rolls back and it's got like the spider arms. I was
Yeah.
like, this as a monster design fucks severely.
It does.
We're watching it for way too long. We're spending too much time looking at this stuff. Helen, I think you said you were like, part of the mystery is like, a girl's gonna have mysteries. I can't look at these for too long or it kind of loses the stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, this design belongs in another movie. Because
Yeah.
this is fucking cool. The, like, horror, that was, like, for me, honestly, one of the scariest parts was the horror of that thing crawling over the other guy and, like, rubbing his face against the other dude.
That
as
was
he's
really
screaming.
well. Okay, that was well done.
Agony.
Like, that
agony.
was awful. That was
Yeah.
horrifying. As their faces merge and they split into, like, great, good stuff. And then we spent another, like, 5 minutes watching it do its thing. And I'm like, I'm not mad because I'm loving watching this monster move around. And I think it's a great design. I think this should be in a Resident Evil movie. Because it belongs in that, not in The Thing. It's not, it
I
shouldn't be a
want
thing.
someone to let these guys make a Resident Evil movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad, like, the more I hear about this movie, I'm less like, God, this is a shitty movie you fucked over with something I love. And the more I'm like, I hate Universal right now. I'm so
Yeah.
mad, because it sounds like there's something here that could have been a pretty decent film. Would it have held up to the 82? Probably not. I think that would have just been really difficult. But do I think it could have been, like, much better? Yeah, it sounds like it could have been.
Yeah.
I said, to additionally clarify, I said, I didn't care about anybody getting the thing. I didn't
No.
care about, like, I didn't even care really that much about the protagonist, and it wasn't the actors. I think the actors were
No.
really doing their best.
They're good. I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is the lead in this movie, and she's good in it. Except, Ezra, you mentioned an offhand comment when you were watching it the other night, where you were like, something about these characters not being very bright, and that how 82 the thing doesn't always rely
I
on
stand by
characters
this.
being
Yeah.
stupid. I had that thought when I was watching the 2011 version, because Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she goes into this room and she tells them it's shape-shifting. So that's what she tells them. And they're like, you silly woman, you're being hysterical, and they leave. And this woman the only other woman in the movie comes up to her and she's like, I saw so and so changing into the thing, or like throwing away clothes or something like that. I think it's him. He's like in
Yeah.
the background looking at her suspiciously, and I'm like, she's like, come with me and I'll show you something. I'm like, oh
And I
girl,
was like,
come
oh,
on.
she's been the thing.
Obviously, she's the thing. She's like, she's the thing.
Yeah.
It's happened. And Mary
Girl,
Mary
she's been
Elizabeth
thinged.
Winstead, she goes with her into this thing, and she does this kind of like, befill the bag shot nonsense where she's like shedding her skin in the background, and you're like, girl,
Yeah.
turn around.
Oh, really
they do
took
the
me a
same
second
effect.
to figure out what you were referencing there.
Yeah, sorry, they do that in Deathly Hallows.
This movie doesn't have enough paranoia. It has the one scene where they're all yelling at each other, and that guy is like, they're Americans, you can't trust the fucking Americans. I was like, there's something interesting here. Because earlier I at one point I was like, this movie shouldn't have any fucking Americans in it. I know it's an American movie and there's no way they wouldn't have made at least like most of the people here Norwegian and maybe with like one American. Everyone here should be Norwegian. There's no way there should be any fucking Americans here. This is stupid. This is ham-fisted. But the idea, like, you can't trust those people, like, we're from different countries, we have to band together, the, like, pitting of the two, like, the groups together, I'm like, that could have been interesting, and then it was that one scene, and then never came up again, and, like, there wasn't enough, like, there wasn't any really another, like, paranoia, it was just, like, surprise, there's a thing, and I'm like,
it was so much more of an action movie. Than there's no, because if you don't have, also, it's like, hey, check out, like, we're gonna show you the monster right away. I'm like, where's the build, guys?
Yeah.
You've gotta, you haven't built any tension here. And, like, I guess part of that is with this kind of a movie, it's like, you're like, well, what's the point? I guess I can see that, like, well, what's the point in trying to hide it? Everybody knows what it looks like. But, like, if you're making a prequel, I don't know that you should go into a prequel thinking, I'm going to assume that every single person who sees this movie is familiar with the thing that comes after it. Just because that doesn't seem like any way to tell, like, do you want to do dramatic irony and foreshadowing? Yes, these things are helpful tools that will, like, teach us something later. That's cool. But, like, you gotta have it be its own story.
Yeah.
And this is just sort of like, it hits you with the thing, like, right away. And I'm like, there's no time for anybody to be paranoid. But
at least
also,
let me look at the dog.
Yeah, like, at least, what's the thing with the dogs?
They kill the dog immediately. Dog over. What? And I'm like, you mean the thing that, like, this movie is notable for? The dog?
The dog.
In the credit sequence, they're like, hey, remember the beginning of the thing?
Yeah,
here's the beginning of the thing. And I'm like, it's in the credits?
I thought they got rid of all the Norwegians.
Yeah, I was like, they got rid of all the Norwegians. It's one American left, and they don't have a helicopter. And the dog's dead. How are they? And then they're like, surprise, the rescue team happens to arrive with a single dude. And then that one guy who we thought died earlier is here, and there's a dog. And I'm like, this is so cheap.
Also, like, I think you make an interesting point about, like, the difference between, like, it makes sense. There are points where it's like, I'm not saying that nobody should ever make dumb decisions in a horror movie. Are you kidding? If you put me in a horror, well, I mean, I would just die because, like, I can't run very fast. I don't know, just my luck, whatever it was, whatever the thing is made of would just give me an asthma attack and I would just, like, die on the spot, but, whatever. Not important. There's a difference between having characters act in ways that don't make a lot of sense because they're paranoid, they're panicking. Like, people do all sorts of very dumb stuff when they're scared. Right. That is true. However, there's a difference between that and, like, relying on your protagonist being stupid in order to make the plot go. And I think that's something, like, that those are one of those is good. One of those is good horror storytelling, and the other one is lazy horror storytelling.
Well, it's because, like, in the just as you mentioned that in the 82 version, there's a character, Wilford Brimley's character, who, like, goes fucking nuts and destroys all of their radio equipment, and they have to, like, lock him in the shed because at that point they're also, like, not entirely sure, and to be frank, neither are we, if he has been turned at that point. And he does turn into the thing at some point, but I think it is still pretty ambiguous, like just watching it this time around, when that happens for him. And you could say like he is the thing destroying the radio equipment and just acting crazy, but it's just as plausible in that moment that he's just fucking nuts and he's like, we can't let anybody else get here because this thing is going to multiply in ways that
Kill
are
everybody.
catastrophic and world ending, and we need to isolate ourselves and kill ourselves,
He
basically.
literally, you see a scene before that where he runs the computer simulation that says,
Uh-huh.
like, if this gets out to the world, everyone will be infected in 27,000 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I probably would go nuts and destroy everything too.
Yeah. But that just adds to the paranoia of it. So it adds to the tone of the story, and it's there to like it only adds to the narrative rather than being like then distracting for the audience because they're like, why would somebody do that? Although I do know, like back to your earlier point, Ezra, like about audiences being too like cinema sins savvy, you know, genre savvy. I do think that is an audience unforgivable sin these days, and I think that a lot of there is a tendency to want to cater to that in a way that didn't used to exist and to because there are some people that I know, and I won't name any names, that are sometimes very frustrating to watch movies with, where sometimes a character will do a thing and they'll be like, "Why did he do that?" And I'm like, "What?" Like there's a like just in the beginning of the movie, my man Gary, who I was loving this time around in '82, he of the tremendous eyebrows, Rada trained, Gary, he breaks a window with his gun to get a better shot at the dog or at the helicopter rather. And I remember watching it one time and somebody was like, "Why did he do that?" And I was like, "Why do you why does it fucking matter? Like
There's
watch the
people
movie."
shooting at them. They're a fucking science base. There's people
He's an
randomly shooting at them.
he's a
He's
military guy and he's old and he's trying to get a sharp shot. Like what why are you questioning his every move? Like why I don't understand the watching of a movie like you're criticizing a person's actions as though like you like it's I don't know like it's just it's so I don't even know what the word for it
Why
is. I'm
did
like you just have to keep
Obi-Wan slice
watching
Maul in half? I just
because
don't get
he's
it.
just like that. He's just like that. I think it's a reaction to seeing any kind of thing that they think is over the top or unusual, and then they go, well, that's bad. And it's like, no, it's not. It's just an action that is heightened or big or tremendous or whatever. I don't know. I've had a few experiences watching movies with people like that. I'm just like, you need to just watch the
Shut
fucking
the
movie.
fuck up. Meanwhile, I watched RRR, and me and all of the friends with me were hooting and hollering, and at one point I fell to the ground. And because I was
Yeah.
just so excited about, and that movie, like, is fucking insane. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect, great. Sometimes art should be absolutely off the walls bonkers.
Bug fuck. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I what was I thinking? I was
Have
thinking
fun.
about have fun, guys. Just everyone should have fun more. I was thinking about so Donald Moffat, who plays Gary in this movie, I was thinking too about when watching the original, I was like, that kind of character is like the character who would have been in The Thing from Another World, like would have been a young man when The Thing from
Yeah.
Another World takes place. And I was really feeling this character this time around. I'm like, this is like, yeah, I think he's like my third favorite in this group here. Because obviously, McCready and Childs are my boys
Oh, yeah. What is
forever.
he? It's the, like, I don't want to spend the rest of this winter
Oh
tied
my
to this
God.
fucking couch.
Every single that was just my entire review this time around. He's like, because they do the blood test and they're like, we're saving you for last because they think he got to the blood, and they
Well,
go through
he
this
had the
whole
keys, I get
thing
it.
where it makes sense, but like they shoot Richard Mazer. They one guy is the thing and explodes. Another guy gets set on
Gets
fire,
bethinged, yeah.
bethinged, and then they get Childs, and Childs is like, cut me the fuck loose,
Yeah.
and they
Get
save
me the
him
fuck out of
last.
here!
And this guy is like left tied to this couch, and he's like, really calmly. He's like, "Now I know you have been through a lot, but if you have the
You
time, I would
gentlemen have
rather
been
not
through a lot today.
spend the rest of this winter." Then he just yells, "Tides at this fucking couch," and that's the end. A perfect button to a perfect scene. Um, so good. He's so good.
Yeah,
And then
and
he
then
gets
there's a
the thing
cut,
to
and
the
they're
end, of
all
course.
yeah. Well, yeah, they all do. They all
Yeah,
get bethinged or otherwise killed. Rip.
yeah. And his happens in a particularly nasty way that I think is kind of similar to how the that red-haired actor from Game of Thrones gets the thing in 2011, where
Oh,
it's like
yes.
the
The guy who I've
appendage is
been
like,
referring to as Danish Tony Curran because he looks like Tony
hmm
Curran.
Danish Tony Curran,
Also,
big bearded Sean Harris,
Yes.
he has that man's beard is just like
wonderful,
incredible.
wonderful beard, great gowns, beautiful gowns. Yeah, he has like a single arm attached to his face, and he just like he gets a
That
mercy
was
kill in the
pretty.
movie.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
I was like, my
um,
man over here getting like the alien treatment.
Yeah.
for real.
No thanks. I would prefer to avoid that personally.
Yeah, no good endings. I was just about to say no good endings for redheads in horror movies. I don't know if that's true. Um, the
I don't know
fillings
enough about
treat
horror movies to dispute that.
the fillings test that they used to replace the blood test in
So
2011.
stupid.
It's so
The
dumb.
like all three of us were like, none of us would have passed that fucking test.
Yeah,
None of us have notable metal fillings. And
yeah.
and and literally one of them's like, I have porcelain fillings, and she's like, well, go stand over there anyway. And it's like,
Ugh.
what is this new? I said earlier, I was like, because the idea is they can't replicate inorganic matter, which, first of all, Ezra pointed out, what about their fucking clothes? Whatever. And I was like, what about my piercings? Like, I have specifically, I have a lip piercing that is teal. It's very noticeable. What I immediately got, if I got bethinged because I don't have my piercing, and then that ends up being the last twist of the stupid movie,
Mhm.
where I saw Joel Egerton get into the fucking van, and I was like, he's missing his earring. I can't believe they're literally doing the thing I made a joke about earlier.
I
Oh
had stopped
no.
paying attention to the movie by that point, and I realized I was like,
Good
she's like,
catch, though.
it was the other ear, and I was like, I
He
didn't
goes
realize
like
he was
this.
wearing a fucking earring.
Yeah, he was wearing an earring in the straight people ear.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
separately, this movie is so like stylized 2010s that I kept forgetting it was supposed to take place in 82, and it made me really mad.
No, you're
Because
so
I kept
right.
forgetting, except for one point where someone smokes inside, and I was like, who the fuck? Oh, it's the 80s.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is dressed like it's the 2010s down to like their haircuts. And
It would've
they're
No
been so
one
much
has
better.
enough hair in this movie. The only person who has approaching enough hair in this movie is the guy whose name I've already fucking forgotten.
the guy with the like swoopy bangs, Adam is I think
Swoopy
his
Bangs
character's
guy
name.
is doing alright,
Close.
and Beard guy is doing alright.
And Beard guy is
Adam-
doing alright, but those are still not like 1980s style hair.
No.
Two things. Joel Egerton should have looked like he walked off the set of The Lost Boys, and I think that this movie would have
Yes.
been improved by several notches. Secondly, swoopy
Yes.
hair Adam. I am refusing to look up the actor's name. I'm sorry, and I kept forgetting his name because as I was watching this, the only thing that I could think when he came on screen was Bargain Bin Bill Paxton. Bargain Bin Bill Paxton.
He looks
That's
like
all I
Bargain.
could
Thank
think.
you.
I was like, Bill
Apparently
Paxton,
he's
Bargain
on.
Bin?
Apparently, he has a recurring role on Community, which I've never
Fascinating.
seen.
No,
Which I've never
that's Bargain
seen.
Bin Bill
And
Paxton. I was
apparently
like,
he's like, it's something about hacky sacks. I don't know.
They
because
wanted-
both of my
they
roommates
wanted
like
the-
Community, and they were like, it's hacky sack guy. And I was like, what?
No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
know
Is
what
this
those
what
words
hanging
mean.
out with me is like? When I'm just like, I recognize every single actor in this?
No, I was like, man, they really wanted Bill Paxton in this movie so bad that
Really,
they
yeah,
found
I
a
guess
guy who
so.
looked enough like him.
Yeah.
God, that movie would have been so
Um,
good if he was in it.
I did
been
appreciate that they didn't do any romance with the female lead. Hell, you mentioned
Yeah,
that
yeah.
she was like, no, I don't want that. Because there were a couple times where I was like, are they gonna fucking do some bullshit? And then they didn't. And I was like, well, thank God for that. Yeah. Because it's the 2010s.
Julie looks like unseasoned mashed potatoes, but in a way that I find kind of charming.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Yeah,
no, he's not necessarily handsome, but he's like nice to look at.
This is his revenge for making that terrible Henry IV adaptation.
Joel Edgerton is like the human equivalent of like a basic but well-made like turkey sandwich.
You gotta stop.
Everything you say about this man is meaner than the last thing you said about him.
He's a pretty good actor too. Like I like him in stuff. He's just
this man is like a post-Thanksgiving turkey sandwich that doesn't have cranberry sauce on it. Like
he's like you ran out of cranberry sauce.
Snapping his neck.
He's right. He stirs not my loins. I'll tell you that much.
He's
a good actor. And
but I like him.
He's not my type, but I think he's like he's a very like just like solid, reliable performer. Like you can put him in. He shows up, he does the work, and then he like leaves. But
he had a gay little earring in this movie, but it was in the straight ear.
Yeah, he like is just you can slot him into any movie, and he will like.
He did it.
He's not necessarily going to be like the most exciting part of the movie, but you're going to be like, you fit very well in this film.
Yeah, there wasn't anybody who I thought was like, even though I have a long-standing crush on Mary Elizabeth Winstead, like there wasn't really anybody in this movie.
Yeah, she didn't really do it for me in this movie either. There wasn't anyone I was looking at like, all right, unlike 1982.
Yeah. In 1982, you love, I think, everybody. What was that?
Oh, I was talking about attractiveness. I said Keith David, hello.
Yeah,
people
looking.
Keith David.
There are some looking mad hunky in that movie. Like
the thing about how they're smoking inside, it just doesn't quite look the same, though. Like, and there's that. I'm just thinking of that one shot in particular of a child smoking, and it's just so incredibly good. It having
also there's no
smokers.
joints in the 2011 movie. Meanwhile, in 1982, people are smoking joints left and right. There's weed everywhere.
There's no joints. There's no rollerblading. There's no Stevie Wonder.
Where's the fun? Where's the spice?
Fun?
Is it because they're Norwegian and apparently Norwegians aren't allowed to have fun?
They play a little.
I don't think that's true, but is that like the American perception? I just don't understand.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I can ask my Norwegian roommate. I think Norwegians can like party pretty hard.
I think Norwegians can party pretty hard.
They are also like very Lutheran. And I think that sometimes has like a dampening effect on the relative fun levels. But like,
I mean, I was just thinking about the American perception specifically.
Oh yeah, I got nothing.
They have
there is one scene at the very beginning where Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character is listening to a song on her earbuds,
her Walkman, and that's how you know it's the Walkman. 80s.
And I can't remember what the song is. It's a bop. It's Bop the Era.
Yeah, she's jamming while she's like shoving a tube inside a piece of meat or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
There was a moment early on where I was like, why are they bringing a fucking paleontologist to this? And then I realized they were pulling something out of the ice, and I was like, oh. Okay.
No, it makes sense.
There were a couple times where I was like, what are these people doing here? And then I was like, oh, because they're here for something else. But also, why is anybody there in the fucking 1982 movie? I don't know, because it's a military outpost or whatever.
There's so many people in that movie, which is why I love it, where I'm like, why are you here?
Why are you here? John Carpenter mentions more than once in the commentary for the 82 movie that he's like, this scene, more than once he says, this scene was my nightmare because I had to have like 12 dudes standing around a table and have it not be boring. And Kurt Russell was like, I don't know how you do it. I would have just quit.
Because we're not shooting this.
They do that like 3 times where he's like, I hated this scene because I had to make 12 dudes stand around a table and have it not be boring. And I was like, that's fair, man. I don't know how I would have done it either.
John
I thought about
Carpenter's like,
that.
okay, I
Yeah.
have to take a break from making my horror movie to make 12 Angry Men.
Yeah. John
I thought
Carpenter's like,
about
I
that
hate making movies.
while watching The Thing from Another World because there's like one shot in The Thing from Another World that's like the hallway scene when what's his bucket loses it and goes for the fire axe, and they're all standing around, and Gary is like, I don't think I should have this gun. I don't think I should be in charge. And I remember distinctly during that scene, John Carpenter was like, I had no idea how to fucking shoot this and block this. I was just like, there's just like six guys standing in a hallway, and I was like, how the fuck do I? And I was just
And
about to
all of
give
them
up,
are
and
in
you all
this little
showed up
fucking
and you knew your
hallway.
lines, and I
Yeah, and
was
I'm
like, I
sitting
don't
there
know.
like, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's
I
just
have to
so
respect
good.
it, honestly.
It's like
I spend
it's
most of
great.
my time showing up to artistic stuff being like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing today.
Yeah.
I show up to
I
this
mean,
podcast most days going, I don't know
At
what
least
the
this,
fuck I'm
at
doing
least
today.
this
it's
is
a
improv. I show up to Parasites and I'm like,
fuck.
I don't know how the fuck we're gonna solve this mystery.
There's different issues. Most of the time, we're just like we with Sneeple is that we have lives, and then we watched very different things, and then we're like, so
How
are
do
you
we
Let's
gonna?
make
not
an
talk about
episode of
John
Sneeple about
Carpenter?
this.
Yeah,
The answer is
um,
usually yes.
yeah.
The gang loves to talk about John Carpenter.
And
I feel like we
wanna
should
watch
make,
Halloween.
we should do, like, Sneeple, like, those, like, devotional candles, but they're just, like, John Carpenter.
yeah,
Patron
just
saint of thrown together episodes that are
It's
nonetheless
like that
extremely well done.
fucking image set that's like, is that your dad? No, that's Stephen Sondheim, and then it's him in the frame, and that's me with John Carpenter and Sondheim.
Well,
I
but
love
yeah.
that joke.
But yeah.
Me core. I can't even remember what
Yeah.
movie that's from, but it's just somebody showed me that. I was like, "Is this you?" I
No,
was
but
like,
I think
"Yeah,
every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, me.
yep."
For real.
Okay, let's see. So we talked kind of about all of them.
Pretty much.
All three of these movies have so many people in them because you obviously have to have a lot of fodder to get buthinged. But a lot of people don't.
When you say it like that, it just takes me
No.
out.
Well, because when
Uh,
you type it at thing, comma D, it has a different impact. But you can't like thinged. It doesn't
No,
really work.
yeah.
So you have
No,
to
it
say
doesn't.
bethinged.
Bethinged.
A lot of people, but like in the first one, it has more of that. Like most people don't die. Actually, it ends up
Mhm.
pretty okay for them, which is
Yeah.
so different from the other two, where everyone just gets fucked.
Like two people get murked in the original.
Yeah,
You
but you
think?
don't even see them.
You don't even
Because
see it happen.
it's like you had
50s.
your two scientists on guard and they got hung from the ceiling, which first of all, gruesome. But you don't even
Yeah.
see it.
Very Silence of the Lambs type situation. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, the thing is taking notes from Hannibal.
Yeah.
or vice
yeah,
versa.
because they go to look at the guards and the arm comes out from around the door and they're like, ah, fuck! They just close the door again. And
Yeah,
then
it's like the
later on, when
closest
they're
it
looking
gets to
at
a
the
jump
plants, they're like, "This is what your dudes looked like hanging from the fucking ceiling." And I was like,
That
"Nasty."
was brutal.
Yeah,
oof.
He's like,
fuck this
every
guy.
time they were like the scientist, and this guy was like, that line in particular was like trying to get a dig in on him. It was like, dude, chill. He's just a scientist. And then
No,
at
get his
the
ass.
end, they was like going after this. The scientist, notably in the original, or the doctor, who's conducting this experiments with the thing's blood on these plants, like tries to reason with it and is like, no, listen, I know that
Other
you've
way
been
around.
kind of attacked, and what was that?
It's human plasma with a seed they
Human
took
plasma.
from the thing.
Thank you. Yeah, you just watched it. You're more accurate. And then they're like they have that
It
plan to
fucking
like,
slaps him.
yeah, and they
He
have
goes
a plan to
flying.
he like basically he like fractures his collarbone or something, but he tries to
Yeah,
reason
he,
with
like,
him, and he's
Breaks multiple things, but he doesn't die. But
he doesn't die.
he like breaks something. It's like he broke something and has a major headache. And I'm like, yeah, he got flown
Uh-huh.
across the room into a wall. I'm surprised he didn't die.
Yeah. And there's notably, I think, when because the original movie ends with like the radios are back on, and the journalist
Oh, it's a great ending.
is like talking to all the journalists who are at this different base, and he's reporting to them, and he mentions offhand, he's like, which I thought was like a really great moment, something about, what does he say about the scientist, or the doctor? I can't remember, but he's like,
He's recovering from the like battle with the beast or something.
yeah. And one of the other military guys says, "Good on you, Scotty," for like phrasing it like that's Scotty's the name of the journalist. He's like, that's for saying it like that and not being like, yeah, this motherfucking
He was a
doctor.
bitch. Yeah,
Yeah, he was just
this
like, yeah, he
asshole.
sustained his injuries. It's like the thing, the whole situation brought them closer together in a way, and like it like enforced their camaraderie, which is kind of nice. So yeah, it was a cool ending. I mean, I still prefer the ending of 1982 just because it
Oh yeah,
slaps. And is there nothing better than sitting in the snow, freezing to
with
death
your buddy drinking
with your
shitty
best
wine
buddy?
and wondering if you're gonna kill each other or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always great.
Yeah, the ending of the original movie I like specifically just because that speech is so like well crafted.
Hmm.
And so much of that movie he spends trying to just get this story out there, and the military has him on just like lockdown. They're like, no, you can't tell anybody, you can't tell anybody. Once they get radio contact, he's like, fuck it, get me on the radio. Are there news guys there? Great, we're telling people.
Hmm.
This is freedom of the press, baby.
Yeah.
Fuck the military.
Keep
Um,
watching the skies.
yeah, it's I thought it was really well written, and it was really, once again, I think the ending of 2 is a better, more interesting, or 2? The
I
1982
mean,
movie is a better, more interesting ending, but I also, the ending of the 51 is so different, but in a way that I find really interesting, and I think suits that
mhm.
movie way better, obviously.
Yeah. I did also like to the poster has notably for the original has a picture of the female character screaming on it. He is really, as I mentioned earlier, really cool and collected during the whole thing. And the only character who actually faints in the movie after they electrocute the thing to death is the
To
aforementioned
ashes.
journalist.
Yeah.
He's just like they do that, and he's just like, if it's all right
And
with
I'm
you, I'm
down.
gonna pass out. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
they're like,
here he
hey, do you want
goes.
to take a photo? And he just collapses. And I'm like, you know what? I get it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Sorry, Ezra.
Something to shreds, you say. Um,
He was my favorite character, I
he
think,
was
was
very
the
He was
front
fun.
great.
porter. He was great.
Well, I
I
think
really liked all of them, though. Even the ones who had bit parts at least had some kind of, like, personality. Like the guy who kept being, like, who would offer great ideas, the big, great idea, sir.
Hmm.
Uh, at the end, he offers an idea, and the main character says, don't tell me it was a great idea.
one of that guy really he like visually reminded me of John Garfield, which I think is
Hmm.
why I like automatically liked him, because John Garfield is one of my all-time favorite actors.
Right.
Justice for, and which was actually, I was thinking about the fact that like the journalist who is effectively this entire time trying to get somebody, trying to be, is like, military censorship is bullshit, like the people, like people deserve to know what's going on, and then the fact that he's like,
That we found the first alien?
yeah, well, and but the fact that like his like, it gets couched in terms of like, this is like we all need to like know so that we can like be like, information is like something that will like, if we all have this information, like we can all like come together and like keep ourselves safe, is just like a different, it's like, it's just a like less cynical view of like the tension between like security and freedom than I feel like we're all trained to expect now, because we live in the panopticon hellscape.
Hmm.
And, we all grew up in the wake of, the invasion of Iraq and shit. And, like, literally constantly just being like, yes, like, the tension between freedom and security or whatever. And it's like, well, that's a bunch of horse shit. But, I don't know, I just was, that was sort of like a nice little, like, yeah, and also made me go, I should watch Good Night and Good Luck again.
Oh man, I haven't seen that movie in
It's been
forever.
a really
I don't think
long
I've
time.
seen it.
I really like that movie a lot, because of course I like that movie a lot.
I've been meaning
Listen,
to watch it.
I
The movie
saw
is
that
like
movie.
laser targeted to me.
The movie came out in 2005, so I would have been um 12 or 13, which otherwise known as the prime stage for my Robert Downey Jr. phase. So that was an interesting watch for me because I was like, I don't know what the heck is going on in this movie, but Robert Downey Jr. is sure in it. And that was my experience last time around. But it looks nice.
I went to go see
And it
that
was
movie with my
interesting.
parents when it like in a theater and got like just extremely hype about it. But I also like that I got really into like the history of the Blacklist for a while, like got really passionate
Mm.
about that. And one second, I need to Google something before I say the wrong
I think that
thing.
was the first thing I ever saw David Strathairn in, also, which is kind of crazy now that I think about it.
Yeah, anyway, so I have people were like, why do you have beef with fucking On the Waterfront? And I'm like, a number of
Ah,
reasons, but it's like, Ezra, you were born in 1991 and you're still mad about Elia Kazan and the House Un-American
listen.
Activities Committee. I'm like, yes, I am, and I will stay. I'm gonna die mad about that. That
When did he
happened
win the Lifetime
way
Achievement
before I
Award at
was
the
born, and I'm gonna
Oscars?
die mad about it.
What year did he win the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Oscars? Because there are people in that audience who are mad about it then.
Okay, we're gonna
But that
find
was
out.
after
Hang
our
on.
word. There's somebody shared that screencast of it recently, actually. It was specifically Nick Nolte and Ed Harris in the audience of the Academy Awards watching
1998.
1998.
So I was
See?
7. Or, yeah, that would be the year I turned 7. And I'm
Not as
like,
far behind the times as you think.
still pissed. Anyway,
Anyway, aren't we
um,
all?
at least some of us certainly are.
But the thing
The
about all
thing.
this,
The
ha 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 ha.
things. Yeah,
The
it is so hard to talk about a movie that's literally called The Thing
thing.
when you
I
just are
mean,
constantly like, the thing about ha ha ha, yeah.
Yeah.
when you are obsessed with puns and being a dad or
Yeah,
making dad jokes, I mean,
it's
I
rough.
think the
It's rough out
winner
here.
of this remake rumble is pretty clear for me, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a total wipeout like it
No.
was last time, which is nice.
I think
Yeah.
that's, yeah, I would
Um,
agree with that. Which I was not. I was not at all surprised. I knew she was gonna win. You know,
mhm.
Yeah, but
she
I
had it
was
in the
like, I'm
bag.
really
But
interested to see what the first one brings to the table. So I
me too.
think the council agrees. We are in consensus. John Carpenter's The Thing, 1982, is the winner. So in this
Mhm.
case, this is the first situation where the remake is the winner,
It's true.
even if it is not an exact remake. I will say that
Yeah.
is the clarifier. But I think the first one, in my opinion, is still worth a watch.
Yeah,
I think it's
It's
still
fun
fun and
and it's
interesting,
short.
and it's short.
it
It's only
is.
like an hour and 20 minutes or something.
And like, if
Um,
you like the way that they did blowing snow effects in those old movies, like I do,
oh, I
this is
have a
a
good
thing that
film
I
for
am
So
like.
you.
I am
good.
like. It just makes me like weirdly like simplistically happy. I love weather effects in old movies. They're so charming.
They are
Like
delightful.
rain, anytime there's rain in a black and white movie and I know that they had to put milk in it so it would show up on black and white film, I'm just like clapping like a seal.
Yeah. It's like I wanted to give a shout out because I work with somebody whose husband is a prop guy for the movies. He's a prop master for movies.
Oh fuck
And
yeah.
works some props. His favorite movie is The Thing. Shout out to you. And I was telling them when I hung out with him last week, that we were doing an episode about this, and we were talking about it, and we were also watching. I showed them a little movie that you may have heard me talk about on this podcast before, called Eyes Without a Face.
mm,
And there's a particularly bloody scene in that movie, and he was saying, like, I love watching these things and seeing how and thinking about how they did that sort of stuff back then, because he was saying, like, that looks like ink. What they're using in this moment is like, and they're probably, because he's cutting into somebody, like they're probably taking, like, have like a pen knife or a nib, and it's like there's ink inside there, and as they push down, like the ink is coming out. And I was like, I love this. And I love the way that it's like the snow thing, it's like the blowing, obvious, like blowing from different directions, and how they had to use milk for rain sometimes, and to make it look, just show up on camera better, like,
In the
um
82 film, they talk about how when they're cutting all their fingers for the blood test, John Carpenter's like, there's a tube behind that scalpel, and that's where the blood is coming from, so they're just
mhm.
pressing that as they move the scalpel. Which I was
Yeah.
like, well, duh, of course that makes so much sense, but I never would have thought of that. It's like
Yeah,
sleight of
but
hand magic tricks.
yeah, it's like, and he was, this, my friend was like talking about this, like all of these like little tricks that you have to do to make everything look so seamless. It's so cool, and I
It's
think,
literal
something
movie
that
magic.
is literal movie magic right there, and something that I think a lot of people don't always think about. And you watch something like, and you hear Carpenter say something like that, and you're like, oh, yeah, that makes so much sense. That's so cool, but I would never think about that. I would never, like, think about, like, how are we gonna shoot this one thing that I
How are
want.
we gonna make blood? Yeah, he also talks about when the dog goes full thing mode and it spits something out at one of the other dogs. He's like, yeah, that's the stuff they put in Twinkies to make them like, be firm or whatever. I don't know if what he specifically said, but he's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
just the stuff they put in Twinkies. So like the dog wasn't stoked, but it's like nothing. There wasn't anything harmful in there. It's just kind of like thick and goopy and visceral.
Yeah.
I
Ugh.
feel he was like, I'm sorry to that dog. The dog is clearly not happy, but like it's just the stuff they put in Twinkies, and
Possibly
they
the all-time best dog acting
Oh my god, yeah, they talked about that
ever.
too. That
So
scene where the
good.
dog, briefly to go back to the Twinkie stuff, when they're at the Norway base and you see the guy who's killed himself and that blood that's like frozen because it's so
Hmm.
cold. He's like, that's also the stuff they put in Twinkies. Um,
That's fucking
but
fascinating.
that dog, the scene where the dog walks down the hallway and just kind of like meanders and then wanders into a room, he was like, yeah, we did that in like 4 or 5 takes. That dog was incredible. Didn't look at us, knew exactly, like, did all of that on
Hmm.
his own, like, just kind of did his thing. I'm like, Jesus. Like, we all know that
Yeah.
dog is, like, really good, but, like, that's 4 or 5 takes for a dog in a, like,
Hmm.
solid, what, like, 30 seconds to a minute long scene? Where it has to,
Not
like,
even.
hit several different points and pause
Hmm.
at multiple
Yeah.
points
I was thinking
and
about that
not
this
look
this
at a
watch through
moving
too.
camera.
The not looking at a moving camera, to, I was like, there's all of the moments where he has to, the dog, like, looks up uncannily in some way and seems like he's observing, are just
Yeah.
so good. And it's like, how this dog,
And at one point
this, like,
looks directly at the camera and it's like chills down your spine and then looks away from
uh-huh,
the camera and like doesn't look back. So it's not like I'm looking at the camera because I'm distracted and I'm a dog. It's like I'm looking at the camera because I'm looking at you, the viewer, and then moves
yeah.
on and
And
like
I'm a seasoned
hovers in a
actor.
doorway and then walks into the room. It's really impressive.
You have that
You
moment
can't
of like,
you can't
okay,
get kids to do that most of the time.
like, are druids real, and is one of them turned like
This fucking
wild
dog.
shaped into a dog for the purposes of making
Yeah.
this movie?
He's the predecessor of our beloved Messi from Anatomy of a Fall, who was the star and the king of this last award season. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
Messi is the only other dog I've ever seen where I'm like, Messi could do that probably, but nobody else. Yeah, great movie. Lit like a dream. Kurt Russell, big hat. Um,
Yeah. Girl,
it's
that's not
great.
bisexual lighting. You are being pursued by the thing.
Yeah. Perfect hat, I would say. Horrible for cold weather, but still top 5 hats in movies, I would say, in my
He puts it
opinion.
on before getting on the helicopter, and you're like, I'm not really sure how that helps, but I guess I believe it
But
does
whatever
now.
you want to do, Queen. They did mention another thing that I thought was interesting, that they're like, yeah, so the other person sitting in the helicopter is actually flying the helicopter, but at one point, like, once they get up, he switches the controls to you, and Kurt Russell's like, yeah, you can see right there, that's where I took over the helicopter. I never thought about the process of, like, having an actor fly a helicopter, you know, because it seems so natural. They're much like a lot of times stunt doubles. They look so much like you're not thinking about that's a different person. And I'm like, well, obviously Kurt Russell isn't flying a fucking helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody else who's controlling it. And the answer is like, yeah, he's hidden in a different part of the helicopter.
Yeah, that's like, again, like another conversation we had when we were watching. I said that a face at the beginning. There's a woman who like is dragging a body and then dumps a body into a river. And my friends were just the whole time we're like, is it a real body? Is that a real body? He's like, yeah, it's a real body there. That's a real body. You can see she's really struggling with the weight. And then it cuts to her throwing it in the river, and he was like, that was a dummy. When she threw it in the river there, now it's a dummy. It's just so great. I like noticing these things and
Me
having
too.
people who can notice these things and point
Tell
them out
you.
to me, and having a director too being on the commentary for his own movies saying that's the stuff they put in Twinkies.
Yeah, or that's the rubber dog. We had to swap it out for a rubber dog, which is why I cast all of that in shadow, because otherwise you could tell that the hair sucks. That's the real dog. That's the fake dog again. And I was like, I can't tell, because obviously he's like, I hid it so you couldn't tell it's a fake dog, which is like, God, movies are cool.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
It is. It's magic.
It is.
Even
so
the
smart.
shitty ones are magic.
Even when he says that, like, when he says stuff like, I didn't know how to shoot this, I didn't know how to shoot this, to even have the instinct to know about, like, okay, well, I have to cut here, I have to shoot it from this angle so that they don't know that it's rubber dog. So
Yeah,
even the logistics of, like, so they don't know, because they're gonna know that a dog isn't, like, doing that, but so that they can't, so that they're
they
not
can
taken
suspend
out
their
of the movie.
disbelief. Yeah.
Yeah. How can I shoot this in the way? And when, you're not, God, I'm going to bring up Mission Impossible. When you're not in a Ghost Protocol situation where an absolute lunatic with a death wish is telling you, Brad, just don't use a stunt double so you can shoot me climbing the Burj Khalifa from any angle you want.
Just fling me out of this helicopter over 100 times. Like,
yeah, don't worry about the angles, Brad. Just shoot me, and I'll just do it myself. When you don't have that opportunity available to you, then you gotta make do with the movie magic.
Yeah, when you're dealing with,
it's a different kind of movie magic when that
I was thinking
Burj Khalifa's failing is happening, but.
When I was talking about, like, well, obviously they're not having an actor fly the helicopter, I did almost say, well, Tom Cruise would probably be flying that helicopter, but he's the exception.
Yeah, he's, yeah. That's right, you have to say that out loud. You can't just put that in the chat and not say it out loud. It's not the Tom...
Okay, this is not the Tom Cruise episode, this is not the Tom Cruise podcast, but why is Tom Cruise a dex-based barbarian?
Very important questions for our time, and exactly what we should be asking him.
No, Ezra, we talked about this. We talked about when we made Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt is different. Ethan Hunt is
in Baldur's Gate 3.
Ethan Hunt in Baldur's Gate 3 is definitely Ethan Hunt is like, did we decide he's a monk ranger
he's a monk.
Multi-class? Yeah.
So we started with monk, and then he picks up ranger.
He's going to pick up ranger level.
Mark.
Tom Cruise. Just actual, I mean, we
actual
normal, like normal,
Cruise...
like Homo sapiens Tom Cruise, dex-based barbarian.
I don't know if Tom Cruise situation is not even like what his class is. It's like Tom Cruise is just a person who, when you get him to do a stunt, he's just constantly rolling nat 20s. He doesn't ever...
He just has great dice luck.
He doesn't ever crit, ever.
Tom Cruise, just Allison Jaffe, too many nat 20s.
Hey, can you do that? He's like, yeah, I did it. When he was like, hey, can you do this extremely complicated driving stunt that our professional stunt drivers can't do? He's like, yeah, I rolled a nat 20 and I can do that now. That's just who he is.
I'm actually a speed racer. So
why does Tom Cruise have an extremely specific set of cheat codes for the universe?
Yeah, up, down, left, up, down, left, right, left, right. Amy.
We've said about 30
Sorry.
fucked things about Tom Cruise in the past 30 seconds, so let's talk about the thing again before we close this podcast.
Yeah, any
Can we
other
talk about the
final
music
thoughts?
for a second? Can we talk about the music in the 1982 version specifically, which is like, John Carpenter's
man,
like,
I love you.
I'm insanely good at doing my own music, but wait, there's more. It's Ennio Morricone with the steel chair!
Yeah. I kept getting kind of annoyed in the 2011 where they kept bringing in stings from the 1982. I was like, you're not her, you're never gonna be
You've
her.
got to stop reminding me of the better movie
I could be listening to a different soundtrack right now.
One of those stings hit, and I was like, I had my hand reaching for my PS5 controller to just turn this fucking movie off and put on the 1982 one.
Literally.
And like I said earlier, I am rolling back a full 30 to 35% of my snark about the 2011 movie in light of the fact that it fell victim to, as many of my beloved things have, to horrible studio meddling. However, you gotta stop reminding me of the better movie I could be watching.
Yeah, and the thing about the music specifically is because John Carpenter was doing that the simple synth thing, and because he did that in so many of his other movies, not only are you then now reminding me of a better version of this movie that I could be watching, you're also reminding me of a better movie called Halloween that I could be watching.
I was gonna say I could be
You're
watching
also
Halloween
reminding
right
me
now.
of Prince of Darkness, which I also could be watching. I could be watching
I could even be
Halloween.
watching the fucking Fog, which is
I could
not
be
even
watching
one of his better
Christine.
movies, but I could be watching Christine.
I could be
Let's
watching
keep listening
John
John Carpenter
Carpenter's
movies that I would
Vampires
rather
with
be
James
watching.
Woods. I could be watching Ghosts
They
of
Live.
Mars. I could be watching fucking Cigarette Burns. There's a fucking deep cut for you.
Did we already mention Mouth of Madness?
Not yet. I could be
I
watching.
could be watching Mouth of Madness.
We're like the
I could be watching Taking a Pelham 123.
I could be watching The Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I said Taking a Pelham 123, which is the incorrect one. I get those mixed up because I watched them really close together.
Yes, it's been
and they both have numbers in them.
Yes.
And they both have unnecessary remakes.
Does that have a, we should put that, is that on the Remake Rumble list?
Yeah. We should.
Because I've never seen the original Taking a Pelham 123, and I want an excuse to watch it.
I've only watched the original, so.
I've also heard that while the remake does not hold a candle to the original, it is a Tony Scott movie, which is, he's an interesting person who makes interesting movies. So,
I feel like it's probably going to be watchable.
Yeah, it seems like it's a train movie. It seems like his type of situation.
A train movie.
Having made a movie called Unstoppable, which is about...
There's so many things on that list. I need to make a Google Doc.
We should make a Google Doc for that. Did we determine whether we're doing remakes in English language remakes of movies that are originally in a non-English language, or is that not counting?
I think we should start. I'm not against it. I think that we should complete our list of
that's fair.
American remakes of American movies first, and then go further. Because
you're right. I just want to watch Girl with the Dragon Tattoo really bad.
That's fair. I found that too in my pile of fucking DVDs, and it's welcome to more movies I haven't seen.
Welcome to another movie.
And I think I have the original one, weirdly. And it's what? This must be one of those things where someone was like, "Here, do you want this movie?" And I was like, "Why not?" Because I wouldn't have bought that movie. I haven't seen either version.
Daniel Craig is extremely hot in that movie.
He is extremely hot in that movie.
True.
I really like the David Fincher. I've seen both of them, and I like them both. I gotta say, because a lot of times I'm there are many American remakes of non-English language movies that I just watch, where I'll watch both and I'll go, okay, but people really just need to get over themselves and learn to read subtitles. I like both versions of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I think they're both very interesting and well done, on their own merits. Same with and then there are movies where it's it's almost more like La Cage aux Folles and The Birdcage are very different movies.
Sure.
They're both fucking exceptional. Also, I
think this is the original.
To watch The Birdcage because I love that movie unconditionally.
I got it. So whoever got it from CD Game Exchange.
Oh, wild!
But I don't think it was me.
I don't know.
But it's definitely the original, I think. It's really hard to tell because I don't know anything about either of them. Yeah, it's the original. Why do I own this? What a world.
I don't know.
For reference for those at home, I also randomly found a copy of Risky Business and The Talented Mr. Ripley, 2 other movies I haven't seen but have very recently talked about. Like, I talked about The Talented Mr. Ripley with my mom the other day because she's watching the show but she hasn't seen the movie. I was like, oh, I've been meaning to see the movie, I should watch that first. Ta-da!
Dude, that movie, The Talented Mr. Ripley, hit me like a ton of bricks when I was like 14 or 15.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I think I'll really... This was $1, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know, my DVD... I am gonna get a bookshelf and actually sort out, like, all of my DVDs, because I have so many.
You should, when you finally do, please post a picture, because I want to compare our unhinged DVD collections.
I found a copy of, fucking... Oh god, I don't remember the name of this movie. I could see it in my mind. Whatever, I'll tell you guys later. Yeah, I have a bunch of weird shit. Anyway, the point being, we have more Remake Rumbles to do, but the unequivocal winner here is John Carpenter's The Thing, 1982. 2011 is not super worth it. It's just kind of depressing. 1951, pretty fun. Do enjoy. Ding, ding, ding. The remake won here for the first time, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen, but, you know.
Yeah.
Was curious anyway.
All right, the belt has been bestowed. The lights that we're wiping the blood off of the floor of the ring. And the lights.
I'm submitting 310 to Yuma as our next one.
Okay, I'm 100% down for that. All right, we're calling it right now. Come back, check us out at an indeterminate point in the near future for another Remake Rumble featuring 310 to Yuma and
featuring
310 to Yuma. Yeah, featuring
I have that DVD. I have the DVD of the remake. DVD. I have seen that movie. And I've been meaning to rewatch it, so.
I have a 2-disc, like, we put 2 movies in this one. You know how sometimes you'll get, like, random like, movie collections? Yeah, I have one that's 310 to Yuma and fucking, what's the Viggo Mortensen, Ed Harris, like, homoerotic old man western that they did that was not actually that good, but I like it because it's homoerotic?
Appaloosa?
Yes.
Yeah.
That movie's not very good, but you should watch it anyway.
Okay.
It caters
too much random knowledge in my...
It's... Anyway.
We can either do that, or we could do Ocean's 11. I'm just saying, I already own...
Also good.
I own both versions of Ocean's 11. That was a grimace from Helena, so it sounds like that's a no.
Only because I know that there's some unsavory things in the year 1960s version, which I'm not too excited about.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Oh, yeah, no, that's... yeah. Oh, boy.
You know... Unfortunate, but we can give it a shot anyway. I think the winner will be pretty clear.
Well, I think the excuse is I just want to rewatch Ocean's 11. Maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe we just do an episode on the Oceans.
We could just do.
An episode on the Oceans movies. I guess.
Let's maybe consider doing that.
So we'll do that instead. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We can avoid giving airtime to some parts of the past that are better left in the past.
Okay.
Okay. As the lights
you for the warning, Helena.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking one for the team on that one. As the lights come down on another Remake Rumble. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneople at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content and come chat with us on the Infinity Break Discord. You can find it at bit.ly/I Talks. You can also shoot us an email at sneepleatthemovies@gmail.com. If you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you think we absolutely need to see, or disagree with our takes on any of the Remake Rumbles, come say hi. Our Oscar-worthy music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter, and our glorious Technicolor logo was designed by Bethany Luthold. Check her out at beleilaniarts.wixsite.com. If you enjoyed listening, please leave us a review on iTunes and share the show with your friends, your enemies, and your partners in crime. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.